Okay, so welcome back. Here we are at the second part of this little tutorial. First part, we made a little background. Oh, it's a white 5 by 7-inch background. We put this little yellow-orange rectangle on there. What we want to try to do now is maybe add a couple of things and then start talking about how you can introduce the ideas of composition and balance and all that kind of stuff with your students. So we've got this little rectangle. The next thing I want to do is add another piece to it. So on the left-hand side, remember our toolbar is over here. We had a little shape tool here. We could click and hold the mouse down, and you'll see that there's all kinds of different shape tools. I'm just going to grab this ellipse now because we had a rectangle before. And notice before I even start that the foreground color here is black, but when I go to make a shape, the fill color is orange. And you can always change that before or after. It doesn't really make too much difference. I'm going to click and hold the mouse down. If I drag, I end up with some kind of ellipse. However, if I don't let go of the mouse yet and add the shift key, it will create a perfect circle. So I'm going to make a pretty decent sized circle there, and I'm going to let go of the mouse first and then the shift key. And here I have this kind of orange-yellow circle to go with my orange-yellow rectangle. And when you do this now in the new version of Photoshop CC, you end up getting this properties panel right here that has all kinds of goodies that you can do with your shape. You can even round off the corners and all kinds of goodies. But in this case, where you still want to just play with the color here, and if you have any other version of Photoshop, you'll be able to do exactly what I'm going to do right now. Like I said, CC has a lot of advantages, but I'm going to show you how you can do it in any version of Photoshop. So we just want to change the color. Now you could click here and pick a color. That's one way to do it. And if I'm going to close that box for just a second by hitting that little button, another way to do it would be to double click on one of the layers on the right hand side. So if I double click right on this little icon here, I'm going to get the color picker. And here's the color picker. Now, if you want to talk to the students about color theory, you want to talk about value changes, well, that first color that we took, that little rectangle, and this circle, they are the same color. And as you can see here, we've got a new and current. They're both the same colors. That'll actually be divided by a line here. But everything that's inside this rectangle has to do with square, has to do with the values of this particular color. And as you can see down here, we've got hue, saturation, and brightness. These are the three properties of color. You want to talk to the students about that. That 31 degrees there, that's how far around the color wheel this color happens to be. So if you'll see that I go to the bottom here, 0, and all the way to the top, 360, basically 359. That's the same color, right? Because I made it all the way around the wheel. So the red is the color that we had. But if I want to make sure I get the right one, I'm just going to go back to where I had 31. And then the other two numbers, saturation, that's how much color, and brightness, that's how bright the color is. That relates to the position of this circle inside this rectangle or this square. So the brightness is 98% of the way all the way up here, and the saturation is 63% of the way across. Okay, that's where we get those numbers right there. So if you want to talk to students about value, you can just say stay inside this rectangle when it pops up inside the 31 degree hue square and click. Now the new color will be this. The old color will be this. So basically we've got a tone or a shade here of that same color. So I'm going to back up a little bit and I'm going to say OK. Oops, got a pop-up message here. I'll say remind me later. And now what we've got is a circle that has the same family of color, but it's darker. I'm going to take the Move tool at the top on the toolbar here, click that, and I'm just going to click, and I'm going to drag this around. Now this is what you should have your kids do. Take a look at this space. What do you want to do here? We're creating a little composition. Let's talk about informal balance. Well, I've got this one rectangle, one circle on the bottom right corner, and I've got the rectangle over here on the top left. While I'm using that tool, the Move tool, if I click on this auto select right here and make sure layer is on, I don't need this on, show transform controls, but auto select and layer, what it's going to do is it's going to click and go immediately to whichever layer the stuff happens to be in. So if I clicked on the background, you'll see it, oops, it shut off because it doesn't have a layer it's looking for. Its the background is locked. But if I click on ellipse 1 or I click on rectangle, you'll notice that those layers get lit up. And any layer that is blue, that's the active layer. Okay, so I've got this little rectangle. I'm going to put this here. And now you talk to the students about, oh, we got value, we've got informal balance. Okay, what else can we do with this picture? Well, if you go up to the word image on the top, you can choose image rotation. And you can say, look at all these different options we've got here. Does it make a difference which way I put this canvas? If I flip it 90 degrees, does it make a difference? I like to do this exercise with the students all the time. Say, okay, wait a minute, how about that one? Do you like that one? Do you like this one? Do you like that guy? Which one is going to work here? And you can talk about shape and how shape has, carries different weight, and color, how color carries different weight, etc. So let's stick with this for just a second. I've got this little circle on the top, the little rectangle down the bottom. It kind of almost looks like it could be somebody's face. There's all kinds of great things you could think about in here. But what I want to do is to add a little something to the background. So we'll do that in the next movie.